While we're on Merab too, did you guys hear? They put it out there all over social media too that he sparred 5 full rounds of sparring the day of his freaking title fight.
Yeah, I love that. I love that,
dude. He embodies a nickname I think better than anybody in the entire UFC right now. The Machine is exactly what this dude is. He is nonstop energy the whole time.
So I'm glad you brought this up, because what we do for a living, or what we used to do, yes, there's science out there, and there's training theories and science and red days and green days and all the rest of it, and recovery protocol. And, Charles Oliveira shouldn't have come back too soon. But this is a different kind of sport. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure every sports coach on the planet would say, don't spar 5 rounds on the day of a title fight. 1, you might get injured. 2, you're not going to be at your optimal peak performance. The glycogen isn't going to have a chance to fully re-energize the muscles and all that type of shit.
I like the glycogen talk, though. Yeah.
Well, I know a thing or two. I know For those that don't know, glycogen is what fuels a muscle. And when you use the muscle, it runs out. It depletes, but then it refills with glycogen. Anyway, probably butchered that, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
No, but we're fighters, and it's a different beast. It's a different sport. And yes, Charles Oliveira maybe shouldn't have come back, and Merab shouldn't have sparred 5 rounds. But whatever gets this mind right, you know what I mean? Because we do things. We do push ourselves to the limit. We do take risks, and this is what the bloody sport is all about. You know what I mean? So it's not a one size fits all. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, no, and I do agree with you that I believe that MMA is in its own league when it comes to how you handle the training and sports science and this and that. I do think it needs to be there, like you're talking about. I think using that as guidelines and having that to just better your performance. But at the end of the day, there's not many other sports where you got to get in there and you just got to dog it out and literally fight. In your mind, it feels like you're fighting to the death, right? That's what it feels like when you're actually in there fighting. It's unlike any other sport. It's not running a race. It's not running a marathon. It's not even wrestling, okay, which is a combat sport. Boxing. I dare even say it's not boxing, right? There's so many things that go on inside of the cage in MMA. Boxing being very similar, I would say, and kickboxing obviously as well, but MMA, man, so much of who is going to win does come down to determination. It comes down to heart, comes down to mental fortitude and toughness in here more than anything. And whatever is going to get you strong there for the octagon, if that means your crazy ass goes and spars 5 rounds, okay. And I'm sure the partners that are going with him, I'm sure Merab's doing his thing. But the guy, as long as the guys in there with him are put in there because John Wood and his coaches know, okay, this guy's going to give him a look and not be a dick. That's all that matters, to keep him safe. And listen, there's always a risk. You can hurt yourself in the back room hitting pads. You hit an elbow moving around. You get poked in the eye moving around in the back. You twist your knee doing jujitsu. It's unlike anything else. You can always get injured leading up to an MMA fight up until literally the last moment. And Michael, we've called fights where we're waiting and we get on our headset. Oh, so-and-so's in the back. They've got herpes, or oh shit, they pulled their back, or it's the Wild West still in terms of how things go in terms of injuries and all that kind of stuff in our sport.
I used to spar in the locker room. That was how I warmed up. Obviously, you'd hit pads a little bit. You'd do a little shrimp. You'd do a little arm bar to triangle, little flow drill. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, shout out Kendall Grove. The poor bastard. He'd have the big boxing gloves on.
Yeah,
I'd have the 4 ounce.
MMA, you had your UFC gloves on, just knuckling up.
Not even the sparring gloves, and just obviously I was pulling the shot. But some of them get through, and you're like, "Sorry, Kendall." He's like, "Oh, it's okay." Bust lip.
That's Craig Eckelberg for me. That was my guy. Yeah. Same thing, man. And just you need a guy like that. That is a road dog for you, man. Somebody that's there, and they know you're not being a dick. They know you're in the zone. They know you're trying to get loosened up and ready to go. And it's usually that guy that's the first one right there celebrating with you afterwards. It's like, hey, man, I'm glad you did that, because if it means you did that and then you went out there and beat that dude's ass, It was all worth it.
Yeah, because, I mean, as you said before, maybe the science books say this isn't quite correct, but if it gets your mind right, it far outweighs the negative impact that the science books might say.
I know.
So anyway, Harrington,
that's good stuff there to kind of talk about that with the sport. It is so different. And I've had that argument, like when I was doing triathlons really heavy, I had a coach and he's a sports science guy and he's very into all that. And we would have not arguments, but I'd be like, when I was still doing a little MMA and working with him, he'd be like, "Oh, we're going to do this. Let's try to do that." And I'm like, "You don't understand. It just doesn't. It doesn't work like that. Like I need to cut weight." He used to say, "Oh, if you do another fight," this is before I retired, "if you do another fight, you should try to walk around at like 165 pounds." I was like, I can't walk around at 165 pounds and then fight an Islam Makhachev. You understand? Like I'm going to get fucking thrown around into the wall. Like I have to be heavier. It's a grappling sport as well as a striking sport.
There's a lot more science coming to the forefront these days, but it takes away from the toughness and the grittiness that you have to have as a human being. I was talking to, I was getting some treatment on my neck from a lady that works for the Performance Institute. Shouts out Jenny, she was great. And we were talking about this. You know, we had someone, I forget who it was, miss weight at the weekend by 8 pounds. And I'm like, these guys, they show up fight week. First of all, the Performance Institute plans it all out, plans their diet, gives them the food. They show up. They hardly have to do anything. Everything's given and provided to them. So many resources. They have personal saunas brought to their bedrooms for crying out loud that they can sit in. They're given their food, but they still can't make weight.
And they still can't make weight. It's laziness, man. A lot of it is laziness. And again, dude, it's funny you say that because I just had, on Facebook, you can see memories from years ago. And I had a memory from when I fought my debut in Canada in Halifax. And it was a picture of my food while I was cutting weight, like early on in the week. It was hard-boiled eggs, chopped up, no yolk, just the egg whites. And then like a store container of chopped vegetables raw that I was eating. And I would eat that and drink 2 gallons of water. That is what I was doing to make 155 pounds. I didn't have a chef there. I didn't have somebody handing me meals and puddings and protein pancakes and all that kind of shit. And I still never missed weight.
But that process, we talked about this recently, having to suffer, having to endure misery, having the mental toughness to go through that. I said, no, I'm good. I will sacrifice. I will do it this way. I'll do it old school. I'll operate on next to no calories whatsoever, 0 food, 0 salt, 0 nutrients, fucking gallons and gallons of distilled water. I'll almost kill myself the night before I do a weight cut, and I'll still show up on Saturday and whoop some ass. All right, let's take a second and thank one of our sponsors on today's show, Sheath Underwear. Sheath makes the most comfortable boxer briefs that I've ever worn. If you're sick of boxers that are too loose or briefs that are too tight, Sheath is for you. Sheath Underwear is the best. Get one pair and it's going to change your life. The most comfortable boxer brief that you will ever put on your body. Plus, they have brand new materials like bamboo and mesh for even more cooling comfort. Go to sheathunderwear.com. Get the most comfortable underwear that you'll ever wear. Use the promo code BELIEVE20 and you'll get 20% off your order. That is sheathunderwear.com. Code is BELIEVE20 for 20% off your order.